Hey, welcome to Point of View. I'm Ryan, along with Elliot, and we brought our special guest, Broncos fan Gabe. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm in a good mood. It's Monday, Labor Day. I'm feeling good. I'm excited.
Yep. So are you excited for the Broncos season this year?
Very excited. I already explained before the camera started rolling that Drew Lock is going to play like the other Drew, Breeze. Um, I think we're going to go 10-6. I don't think we're going to win the division, unfortunately, because there's a light-skinned fellow in Kansas City who seems to be like Thanos right now. But I'm excited. I think we had a good draft. I think we had a really good draft. I think Philip Lindsay is going to take another step in the right direction. Um, yeah, I'm pretty excited for us.
All right, very good. Elliot, how are your Vikings going to do this year?
Um, okay, you're gonna call them my Vikings. That's fine. No,
They are your Vikings, though. They're the
they-
only team you root for.
I
Who
root.
is there?
The only team I root for. I root for individuals and other teams where I root for their teams when you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
no, I think they win the division. I don't like the Packers this year. And then I don't know. I'm not a big fan of any team in that particular division at this point. But I think the Vikings have a better roster and the better team at this moment, even though I'm not a big fan of Kirk Cousins or anything like that. But they should win the division. But we'll have to see what happens with that because I think it's a coin flip. But I think the Vikings have a slightly better roster.
All right. I know you have a big list of topics, so I'll take it.
All right.
Give it a go.
All right. All right. I mean, a lot of this stuff was going to be because Tony was going to be here, but let's just. I mean, I know we just talked. If you guys want to go any deeper into the NFC North specifically, anyone who wants can take it away, and then we can go on from there.
Absolutely. I'll
Go
take
ahead.
this one. The Packers are winning that division. You're crazy if you think the Vikings are winning it. I know they have the size, the skill, they have the players, but they're just not going to be able to string the wins together. And I know it doesn't make any sense, but people forget that the Packers was 13-3 last year, and that was with a first-year head coach and Matt LaFleur. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly. I watch too much Stephen A. Smith, but Matt LaFleur is a great coach. He did a lot of good things with the Titans. He did a lot of innovative things with the Titans. Rodgers is just going to get better in that system. And plus, with great quarterbacks like that, people don't actually know what weapons they have because they can find anybody. Like Brady did it, Manning did it. They'll find a third stringer who happens to be really, really good and they can fit in the system. Rodgers is probably going to take more risk because he knows that they drafted Jordan Love, and so I really got the Packers winning that division. I don't think the Lions will do much. I don't believe in the Bears, and I still don't believe in the Vikings. I know that they beat the Saints in the playoffs, but I still don't believe in them. Sorry.
All right. Well, you're wrong. The Vikings are going to the Super Bowl at the NFC.
Whoa.
And I'm not. You know what? You can hold me to that. Listen.
I'm holding you to it.
Hang on. This is gonna be the year. I'm gonna go on to live here. Kirk Cousins right now. Kirk Cousins will be the MVP of the NFL this year.
What?
I'm not joking. This is the year he breaks through, okay? Not only that, no, I really believe this. Dalvin Cook's gonna have a breakout monster year.
That I agree with.
I think he's going to turn himself into a top 5 running back in the league. And with that defense, if they have the ability to run the ball, you watch out because we all know what's the most important thing in the playoffs, your run game and your defense.
Absolutely.
Dalvin Cook is going to make Kirk Cousins that much better. He's going to take a lot of the pressure off, and I think that defense is really going to step up. I don't think – and now trust me, I think it's going to be very close. I think it's between them, the 49ers, or Seahawks. I agree with Elliott. I don't think the Packers are doing anything this year. I think they were the worst 13-3 team in the history of the NFL.
They were 13-3, but in actuality they were like 9-7. That's the product that they showed us. They won 13-3 games. They're a 9-7 team that won 13 games. There's a difference than being 13-3 in real life and the whole thing, and being a team that happened to win 13 games. That's all I'm saying.
The thing. Aaron Rodgers is not a bad man. Patrick Mahomes is the bad. to quote my boy. So there you go.
Yep.
But no, seriously, I think – but I also think with the COVID and the lockdown and not that many teams getting training camp, I don't think you're going to see a team win more than 12 games this year across any honestly. Because I think you're going to have too many injuries. I think a 1 seed could come out of the NFC or the AFC going 11-5. And that's an honest prediction just because of the lack of timing in training camp and injuries and all the things you have to factor in.
No preseason either.
Yep.
Right.
So allow me to respond to all those takes that you guys had. So first thing is, thank God Tony didn't come because he would have flipped out. He can't do it. Not only did you guys predict that the Packers will do nothing this season, but you completely discredited their last run last year, the 13-3 NFC Championship. Honestly, and here's what I have to say honestly about the Packers. I really feel in my heart and hearts that they were better than every team in the NFC last year, excluding the Niners, obviously. But I think that they were better. I think they were better than the Vikings. I think they were better than the Seahawks. They beat the Seahawks in the playoffs.
Yes, but hold on before you continue. Russell Wilson lost all his running backs before that game. He was basically carrying a mediocre side.
I think Russell Wilson had is a better quarterback today, right now, than Aaron Rodgers.
Quite obviously.
But I don't think that his team is better than the Pack because people be sleeping on them. It's just that one team in the NFC that always blows out the Packers. Like, remember when Atlanta did it in the NFC Championship, blew them right out. So it happened again with the 49ers. So I understand.
But at the same time, that's all fair. That makes total sense. But at the same time, that game wasn't a blowout. It was pretty close. And if Russell Wilson has the running backs, because they got some decent ones there that can do a job up there in Seattle. If they're healthy and if they have a moment in a playoff game, then maybe the Packers don't win that game. I do get what you're saying, but at the same time, Seattle's not fully loaded at that point.
I've seen the Seahawks be down 7-19 with less than 5 minutes left to the Packers and them still win the game. So I don't want to hear if, because a lot of if could have happened. The Packers should have won the NFC Championship. So to me, like, I understand that point, but to me, I still have them number 2 in that NFC time. And plus, you guys have to realize this, and here's the point. In the NFC, it's not like the AFC. The AFC, the same old quarterbacks, the same old teams always kind of go. The NFC has new powerhouses every year. Like the 49ers is a new powerhouse. Nobody had them really just going to the Super Bowl like that, honestly. Keep it real. Like, they just came out of nowhere. Like the Rams, when they had their big explosive season a few years ago. Nobody seen that coming. Philly, that was a brand new regime, and they just came out of nowhere. So there's always these new powerhouses that comes out the NFC. I think it's the Packers' turn, and that's why I got them winning the division. They're not going to the Super Bowl, but I will say this though, Ryan. Like, I got to give you props for your picking the Vikings to be a great team and picking Kirk Cousins to be the MVP, because, like, that's a hot take. If you're wrong, we'll just throw it to the side. But if you're right, you look like a damn genius. So
listen, this is why I think that, honestly. I think last year he finally won a playoff game. I think, like, he finally got over the hump where he finally realized, okay, I can actually win, like, the big games, because he made all the throws against the Saints. The 49ers were just – nobody was going to beat them last year.
Nope.
So I think I think he's going to have a monster year this year. Now, in all seriousness, the MVP is probably going to come down between Mahomes and Mahomes watching Lamar Jackson. We all know that. But for my hot take, Kirk Cousins is my dark horse and has a very real chance at winning the MVP. Like I said, I really do believe the emergence of Dalvin Cook's really going to help that Vikings team out, and I really believe they're coming out of the NFC. Now, what do I think is going to happen after that? Probably a 42-0 loss to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I joke, of course, but you know what I mean. I mean, it really is any team's year. I do have a question for you though. Do you think Russell Wilson will ever win an MVP in his career?
Nope.
Nope.
Or do you think he's going to go down as the greatest ever to not win an MVP?
Wait, say that second part again.
Do you think Russell Wilson, if he doesn't win it, he'll go down as the greatest ever to not win an MVP?
Yep. I think it's
Nope, because Drew Brees.
Go ahead.
Drew Who would you take in the prime, Drew Brees or Russell Wilson? Because he didn't win MVP either.
I don't know, man.
That's
Depending on the
hard
day.
because they're both Hall of Famers.
Yeah. But
They're both legends. At this point, Breeze, just
Right.
more.
But let me just say something about that real quick. There are years that he probably will deserve to win the MVP, and there's probably years in the past that he deserved to win the MVP. The problem
Brees
with Russell,
definitely deserved it.
right? With Breeze and Russell, the problem is the media's never liked Russell Wilson. For whatever reason, I can't figure it out.
I know why. I know why. It's because when he first started playing, the Super Bowl he won, which was the worst Super Bowl in
that's a good
NFL
point.
history. I hate bringing it. The defense did the job, and so they just kind of chucked it up. Though he's a game manager, but it was never true. He was always really, really good, and he turned great. So
Right.
it's tough to get that credit. Brady kind of had the same issue. He had to go win 6 before some people called him the GOAT.
Right. Plus, on top of that, but after that Super Bowl, like the thing is, he led the league in touchdown passes several times.
Who? Drew Brees? Or
Russell Wilson
he's led the league in touchdown passes? What?
twice, I think, at least once. There was one year for sure that he led. I don't know, twice. I mean, but the thing is, he's justified the fact that how great he is after the whole defense thing, and I think he'll never get the respect he deserves. But will he have a season that justifies himself as an MVP? Absolutely. But other than this,
It was last year. Last year justified it. Lamar Jackson just literally came out of nowhere and won it. But I mean, if Lamar Jackson didn't have that year, Russ was the MVP.
right, for sure. So I
Yeah.
think again, the three of us and Colin Coward are pretty much the only people who know this Russell Wilson thing is legit. And I think just in general, he's never going to get that respect, but he's a Hall of Famer. If he never played another down, he'd be a Hall of Famer.
I agree with that.
Absolutely. I
But
agree too.
when you come to the point of who's the best to never win an MVP, it seems like an easy decision now, but at the end of this, it might not be as easy as it seems right now, because Drew Brees is obviously at this point the best to never win an MVP. But 5-7 years from now, when Russell Wilson is top 10 in touchdown passes and all this other stuff, or whatever he accomplishes, if he wins another Super Bowl, who knows what's going to happen. But that if he doesn't win it, it will be between those two. And I think 5 years from now, the conversation will be who was better, Drew Brees or Russell Wilson. It won't be who was better,
Okay.
Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I disagree. But
I'm just
spent a lot of
talking.
time.
I'm just talking on future investment. I'm not talking about right
Yeah.
now. I'm just talking within
okay.
5 years, we're going to have that conversation instead. That's just my prediction.
Okay. So I will say this, just to end the topic, if you guys don't mind, real quick about Drew Brees and the Saints. Is their Super Bowl window open or closed? Real quick, Elliot, what do you think?
Close.
I think.
I was like,
Ryan?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ryan.
It slammed shut last year.
I agree 100%.
That was the year to do it.
It was over. It's over.
It's over. I mean, and you could tell he's slowing down. I mean, he's 41.
Mhm.
I always appreciate what he did. The fact that him and Brady have been able to even play at like a semi-high level at this age
So
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
is just a testament. Because I mean, not even like Manning was great, but like his last year when he won the Super Bowl, like we all knew it was time. Like,
Yeah.
4 neck surgeries.
yeah, and I understand that, but it's like you can't really like justify telling either one of those guys to retire yet.
Absolutely.
As long as they can
and-
keep doing it, I mean, why would they stop? You know what I mean?
In addition to all of that, I remember last year Drew Brees missed 5 weeks. I think he had injured something. I'm like, this is actually good for the Saints, and they went 5-0. And I'm like, well, maybe Drew Brees looked bad at the end of the year in the playoffs because he was tired, that arm. But he missed 5 weeks. So he should have been refreshed and healthy. And it meant nothing because the Vikings made him look like an old man. That arm just still wasn't live. He's losing it.
Yeah, before we move on, I want to say something about this. So it's obviously closed, but it's what happened was the Vikings Minnesota Miracle, where they lose at the last second, psychologically, mentally broken. Next year they come back, they go against the Rams and they lose that game because of an unfortunate situation. And then the third year they come back and they just don't look the same. It's like you can only take so much of choking like that or having unfortunate things happen to you. You can kind of compare it to what Barcelona went through the last few years. So same kind of dynamic here where they're great. They're good teams or great teams, whatever you want to say. But going through those situations consecutively and then losing in overtime against the Vikings, it just seems like it's like they went as far as they could. That window for that is closed. And I think it's not because Drew Brees can't still play. And it's not because Sean Payton's no longer a great coach. It's because of the way they lost those two NFC or playoff games before last year. And then last year it was their last chance. It really was the icing on the cake, because the only way to get over those two psychological warfare or whatever is to overturn it and go deep in the playoffs after those two things happen. So because of how the breadcrumbs sort of fell, that's why it's slammed shut now. And they have another quarterback there, but I don't believe that he's going to overtake Drew Brees.
Taysom Hill is not a quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a specialist.
Right. No,
He's
he
not
is.
a quarterback.
You could win with, and I'm still saying it's close, but if they still had Teddy Bridgewater waiting there maybe another year and then he goes in, maybe they could muster something to at least go on a deep run. But the way it stands, because of all the things that basically led up to this moment, it just basically collapsed on itself.
Okay. Sounds good. Fair enough.
Speaking of future investments, as Elliot brought up, Mr. Jordan Love.
Oh, that's a perfect segue. Let's go ahead and start it.
I think this was and I can see why Rodgers is pissed. I think it's a perfect pick. Honestly, I mean, it worked before.
It worked before.
And I mean, Jordan Love is not NFL ready. Aaron Rodgers was not NFL ready. You're sitting behind one of the best, and I'll admit it, probably easily a top 10 guy to ever do it in this league. And you're learning from him, and you get an experience for 2 years. I don't think it's going to happen as smoothly as Rodgers did, but I think they definitely have their starting quarterback in the future.
Gabe, you go, and I'll go third.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just so we balance it out, because you to agree, disagree, agree. That's what I'm saying. So go ahead.
100% disagree with you, Ryan, all the way, completely disgusted, and here's why. So the Packers, again, they went 13-3 last year. They made it to the NFC Championship where they were destroyed. Where they were destroyed by the same team that destroyed them earlier, just the 49ers. If clearly all they needed was some run stoppage, they needed some actual defense. They should have drafted a defender with that first-round draft pick. If Jordan Love works out in the future, I'll look stupid and I'll be all the way wrong if he's the next Rodgers. But I just don't see it, guys. I think that the Packers' luck is running out because they've had a Hall of Fame. They had a Hall of Famer at quarterback for how many years in a row? What, 20, 25? I don't know, but for a very long time.
25.
Their luck is running out. They're not going to have another Hall of Famer after Rodgers. I don't think so. I don't think Jordan Love is it. I think they should have elected to go defense. They should have sold their soul. They should have mortgaged their future, and they should have tried to win the Super Bowl next year because they came close. I mean, they can't compete with the 49ers or the Chiefs, but that's only because their defense is trash, and Rodgers doesn't have actual weapons. He doesn't have enough weapons around him. So they should have invested into those two things and said, forget the future. Forget trying to replace Rodgers. I know his stats has been going down, but he's still a top 5 guy in this league. I think he's still a top 5 quarterback in this game. I wouldn't take 4 of the quarterbacks before Rodgers. I know I sound like Tony almost, but Tony would be melting down right now. But I think it was a bad move. They should have invested in pieces that can help Rodgers now.
Well, my argument is they did the same thing with Favre. They won the division the year before they took Rodgers. They went 10-6 and won the division. And I know they lost in the first round, but couldn't the same argument be made that you win for Favre then instead of drafting a quarterback in the first round?
I would have been wrong 100% years ago because I'd have been on Favre's side. Who was this kid, Aaron Rodgers? So if the same thing happens, because only time will tell who's right and wrong. Only time. But I've just seen my team do it. I've seen my Broncos get humiliated in the Super Bowl, come back 2 years and win it. So it's possible. The Packers were humiliated in the NFC Championship. Why can't they come back in a year or two and win it? You know, that's just how I feel. I mean, and obviously we only kind of won it because we had a backup that held Peyton Manning's spot down. So I kind of look like a hypocrite. But my point is invest in people who can help Rodgers today.
All right.
That's how I feel.
All right. This is what I'm going to say, okay? I disagree with you, but I'm
Me
not. I'm not.
or Ryan? Which
No,
one?
you.
Okay.
But I'm not going to use I'm not going to use Brian's argument because that's not why I think it's a good pick. So let me just break this down for you. Jordan Love last year. I'm going to talk about Jordan Love and then I'm going to talk about the pick just so I get all the context there. Jordan Love last year was one of the best quarterbacks in college football. If he left his junior year last year, he would have been one of the first quarterbacks off the board. Okay, so that's this year.
So 2018.
Yes. And in that draft, 3 or 4 of his teammates were picked, right? So he goes into this upcoming season, this last season, with no NFL guys. His coach leaves, his offensive coordinator leaves, and then he's basically thrown to guys like you and me, basically, just college athletes, but not the ones who are going to achieve at the high level. So with that being said, and his stats didn't look pretty and all that stuff, and I know a lot of Packer fans probably saw the stats and got angry, but they're not really looking at this in this way. So Jordan Love would have been a top pick last year. He still has that same rise in potential. You watch him in college. Who does he look like? A worse version of Patrick Mahomes, just in the term of the way he plays.
That's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and I've seen some of the stuff. Yeah, but just you get what I'm saying.
Right.
So I see some similarities there, right? So the pick itself, Jordan Love going to the Packers, being that as your future is a perfect situation for Green Bay, just because, you can make an argument that he was even a higher rated quarterback than some of the other ones that were taken in front of him. But anyway, the point is that he was a high rated quarterback last year and would have been a top 10 to 15 pick last year. Okay, so that's the Jordan Love. Great potential, great player. On paper, he should be a guy who's going to be I don't want to say a superstar, but a guy who's capable of reaching those type of heights. Not now, but like next year, the year after, whatever. We'll see. So that's the Jordan Love point. Then there's the Packer point. You say, okay, I get they won 13-3, but as I stated before, they were 9-7 team that won 13 games.
You're wrong.
And this is an important thing to remember, right? Well, first off, you can talk about the playoff disappointments and what Aaron Rodgers did in those games. Aaron Rodgers, at the last several years, has gone backwards in multiple ways and all this other stuff. And I'm not going to tear him down in this segment, but I'm just putting all the information.
So I'm going to tear him down next segment, but not this.
So am I. So am I. Don't worry, we're going to get there. But okay, so I'm just highlighting all this information so everyone understands the gravity of what I'm saying. And then, okay, now we look at that point, and then let's look at this point. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry. Whatever. I got some message on the thing about something.
Me too. Time limit.
Yeah.
We're fine though.
We're fine. All right. Anyway, so basically, Green Bay's, what are they trying to do? Let's really think about what the angle is for drafting Jordan Love. Obviously, you want a future guy. That's one thing. But the reason they drafted and it's not just a Jordan Love pick. It's everyone they drafted through the entire draft. And this is the point. Their coach ran a power run offense over there in Tennessee. He got, Derrick Henry was incredible. He comes to Green Bay. He wants to replicate that offense, right? What he wants to do is he wants to run the power run offense they run in San Francisco. That's his idea. You got that running back, and you have other good pieces. And in that offense, you typically don't have a guy like Aaron Rodgers who's got a cannon for your arm, is going to throw it downfield all the time. You want someone who can manage the game, and you're going to rely on the run. All right? So the first thing, they do the Love thing. Trading up, I don't know what that happened, because the only reason that makes sense is if someone else is going to pick him, or they get tipped off to someone else is going to pick him. But this is the main point here. They drafted a running back, a tight end, a little bit defense. It's not that they drafted a running back and a tight end. It's the type of running backs and tight ends they drafted.
Okay. Now I'm with you.
Okay, so hear me out. So they draft. I know his name. I just can't escape my head. They were more explosive running backs on the board. Jonathan Taylor, who went to the Colts in the second round, as far as a running back's value, is incredible that they got him at that spot. They passed on him. Why? Here's why. They want running backs and tight ends that block and basically execute the offense that they want to run. So based on everything I laid out, the reason this makes sense is because of the structure they're building. And Aaron Rodgers, but besides the fact that he's declined, is the structurally they're building a power run offense. They're not building an offense you would put a Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, even like a Josh Allen, guys with huge arms. You're building something that you could put like a Jimmy Garoppolo in, Alex Smith, and you do that with Jordan Love when it's his time, and maybe he's a game manager for 2 years, and then he's really into his NFL form, and then he can start to become that star. And now you have a power run offense with a guy who can also, if necessary, shred you with passing the football. So go ahead.
I understand everything you said, and I think it's 100% factual. And I think with all of that being true, you still have to look at the facts that we were one game away from the Super Bowl. And with Rodgers being in decline, he's kind of becoming more and more of an Alex Smith than, say, a Patrick Mahomes. That's still a bit of a stretch, but you get what I'm saying. With all of that being said, I still think that they should draft – they could have used that first round. Didn't they draft him in the first round? They could have used that first-round draft pick for something that could have blown the top off the defense, something that could have helped out Rodgers in the O-line, something because, I think they got burnt for like over 200 rushing yards in the NFC Championship. Yep. They could have got a run stopper. And picking quarterbacks is hard, okay? The Packers got lucky, and I say lucky, but, they've been fortunate, to have, a Hall of Famer at the quarterback position for 25 years. But I don't know if Jordan Love's going to be it. He could be just like his first name, Jordan. He could be like that.
True, but hold on. Let me make my point. People, not me, but people said that about Patrick Mahomes as well. They thought it was crazy. And I know Alex Smith isn't Aaron Rodgers, but you get kind of the dilemma that they put themselves
in. I get that, but that's
yeah, but that's Alex Smith.
Yeah,
that's fair.
It doesn't matter with Rodgers. With Alex Smith, his Super Bowl window was open for like maybe 1 year with the Chiefs, but he never really had a shot at winning it.
Right,
he never was really that guy. Rodgers got a shot every year. Yeah.
I'm not knocking on Alex Smith at all. I appreciate what he did. He gave us stability for years and years and years, and I'll respect that. But we were never going to get over the hump with him.
No, I got that. I'm just highlighting a point that just to put perspective on what people said about Patrick Mahomes when they were drafted.
I think the only way, I don't think any of us can be right now unless the Packers win the Super Bowl next year.
Unless Aaron Rodgers breaks his leg week 7 and Jordan Love.
Yeah. If Jordan Love is great, then I think you guys are right. If Jordan Love is bad, then I'm right, pretty much.
Or if Jordan Love's a little bit better than you think and a little less better than we think, then just somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle. But if Rodgers doesn't win a Super Bowl, if he doesn't do anything of significance, if he doesn't win another league MVP, then I guess you guys were right. It shouldn't have mattered. But that sounds good. I agree. Great points, guys.
Thanks. Here's my thing with Rodgers, though, and you said they were 1 game away. He's been 1 game away
4 times.
Like hold 4 times.
Right.
And drafted defense every year for him, and he still can't get over the hump. His Super Bowl window closed. Let me point this out.
He is the day after he won it.
Hang on. He is not. His Super Bowl window is not closed. He has not been the same guy in the playoffs though since Eli Manning and the Giants absolutely wiped the floor from him in 2011.
I think it broke him psychologically.
Eli was up there with a 9-17. He beat Favre in the playoffs on Lambeau, and then he beat Rodgers in the playoffs.
Yep,
on Lambeau.
It won the Super Bowl both years.
It won the Super Bowl both times
against Brady, bruh. No. And the thing about that is people. It's one of those stats that exist that no one ever talks about because it's bad for these shows that debate and stuff. He has the worst combined stats in the history of the NFC Championship game. And he's an elite quarterback, but I'm sorry, 6 touchdowns, 7 picks, and a 42 passer rating just ain't good enough. Even Jay Cutler had a higher than 42 passer rating in that one NFC Championship game he played in. But historically, over the games he's played in, he's got to 1, and he's never been great in that game with that level of pressure. And I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. He's a Hall of Famer, obviously. I have issues with him that go beneath football as well as on the pitch, on the field, sort of thing. But I think that just needs to be highlighted because Aaron Rodgers, these Packer fans want to convince themselves that he's still the same guy. He's not. And I think That's why I was okay with the pick. Me and Ryan were on Facebook or live or whatever talking about this, and we wanted him to take Jordan Love because we wanted to see what this team could be. Because you don't want to fall off a cliff and then have to rebuild the entire thing. You have to at least have some sort of plan.
I don't mind falling off a cliff if we win the Super Bowl.
Fair enough.
My Broncos did it, but let me ask you guys a question. I think this will be a good question to kind of wrap up the question about Rodgers. We'll wrap up the topic about Rodgers. How much, what is the percentage that you give Aaron Rodgers' fall off, his statistical decline, to his whether it's like his own physical ability, injury, or do you accredit it towards a lack of weapons? Because Jordy Nelson isn't there, Randall Cobb isn't there. He's missing a lot of great receivers. I know Devontae Adams. I know he's got a couple of pieces, but they're just not where they used to be. So, what percentage do you accredit it to Rodgers himself or his surrounding talent? Which percentage?
Ryan, you go first. I want to hear this.
I'd say 70 on him. The guy can't stay healthy, and he never had
70.
Okay, and you know what? I respect him. Don't get me wrong.
I know.
Aaron Rodgers, but he's never been able to stay healthy, like for a long stretch of time. And you know, in football, the more you get injured, the less and less it's going to be. But I do agree with you. I mean, the years that they were down, not making the playoffs, it's absolutely on Green Bay for not surrounding him with pieces. My problem with you arguing that is how many nobodies has Tom Brady took and made them look like Hall of Fame receivers?
Wow, I don't know about that. I think that's a false narrative.
Though.
That's a false narrative.
Peyton Manning did it too, though. Peyton Manning did it too.
He made Danny Woodhead look like a Hall of Famer one year.
Wow.
Danny Woodhead.
He had some guy named Chad Jackson, who I don't even think plays in the NFL.
How many guys have Bill Belichick made look like Hall of Famers? I don't know. What's his name? What was the dude? Flynn? I think that was his Flynn.
Who?
Flynn? Didn't they have so the Patriots went 16-0, Brady got hurt, and then they went 11-5.
Matt Castle.
11-5?
Matt Castle.
Sorry. Yeah, he made him look really good too.
Yeah, well, Matt Castle, to be fair, I mean, he did have one good year with the Chiefs. He did take it to the playoffs.
See?
Other than that, he was trash.
So, but you know what, though? Hold on. Really quick, Ron, I want to give you credit. I think you are the most fair sports fan I actually know. I think you're the least biased sports fan that I know. With all due
appreciate
respect,
that. I try.
Yeah. Guru, you're really close, but you always kill me with these messy analogies. I'm sorry. But that's it.
The thing is, I'm only unbiased when it has nothing to do with Messi. I'll take that. That's it. I'll put my hands up. I think Messi's the most talented person in the history of the universe. But that's it. That's it. Only Messi.
Okay.
Man, that's biased. That's biased because you see, we'll get into that later. I put Messi over Muhammad Ali.
Facts.
He would too.
No way.
We got to stay on topic. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Go on.
So Ryan says 70% Rodgers, 30% his supporting cast. So what about you, Guru?
I wanted to, because the thing is, I wanted him to answer first, so mine didn't sound insane. I said 60. So I got 60 on Rodgers. Yes, they should have surrounded him better. They did have just up boardroom decisions. Mike McCarthy, I don't blame that much because he had pretty much a winning season every single year, and he's not the best coach of all time or anything like that, but still, he consistently got him to the playoffs, and Rodgers in too many situations totally screwed himself and his team.
Wow.
And I'm going to make one more point. Rodgers has moments where he can lead comebacks and get into those situations and go on a game-winning drive and win with a winning touchdown. But also, in certain playoff moments, I think sometimes he lacks the leadership in really bad games to get the Packers back into it and get them into a place where they can actually win the game or come from behind that some of the other quarterbacks have done. And Rodgers is so talented, and he's a Hall of Famer. I respect him as a player, and also you have to because his resume speaks for himself. But all things considered, that's the way I land on that topic.
All right, I'll do 50-50. I think it's up. I think it's a coin flip. So, all right, that's pretty good. What's next,
Guru?
Guru?
One more point on that.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
Never
What's
been
up?
The same since they lost John Kuhn.
They haven't.
No, I mean that
he's so
was
subtle.
the heart and soul. And
I know he's so subtle, but it works.
Yeah, it works, and he was the heart and soul of that team. And you know, when you lose a guy like that, like the pieces just start falling off.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So this is the moment that you guys have been waiting for. I'm opening up the floor to both of you to see how the you know what I saw Pat Mahomes do what Pat Mahomes does. So I'm gonna give you guys a chance to ask me any question in regards to his college career and why I saw this.
Okay, so you want me to start this off, Ryan, or do you?
Whoever wants to go first.
All right, I'll start it off really quickly. So the first thing I do want to make a quick comment, and then it'll kind of lead into a question.
Yep, go ahead.
So, the first thing you always hear about quarterbacks, because it's the hardest position to judge pretty much in sports, they always talk about intangibles, which actually means we don't know what we're looking for, but we just know when we see it. So what did you specifically see from Mahomes? Like, was it couldn't have just been arm talent.
No.
Half the guys in the league has great arm talent. What did you see from Mahomes specifically from his passing ability? What was in his passing? Because that's really where it's strong. I mean, he can move. He can do everything. He's limitless. But what did you see from his passing ability that made you say, okay, this is Manning, this is Brady?
Right. No, I got you. So there's a few things that I saw through this, and I'll get into this. And this might be a cop-out, but obviously he's got great vision. He's got this great arm. The vision is what really get it to me. But then what you would see at Texas Tech, and Texas Tech is not a great team. Kingsbury was the coach. They always ended up in these games where Patrick had to throw for like 400 yards just to maybe get a chance at winning a game. But it's what I noticed with him is what happens when he does something dumb, when he makes a bad pass, when he sort of – because you see with some quarterbacks, they get out of the snap, they throw a bad pass, they get picked off, and then the next play, they're still thinking about the pass that they made, right? The thing I appreciated about Patrick Mahomes at the time, and it took a few steps for me to realize what he was going to be. I mean, the talent is the talent, but it's the way he acted and reacted to bad stuff. He'd throw a pick, something would happen, and he gets back to the huddle, and he's like hyping his guys up. He goes into the next play as if it's like short-term memory loss. So he's focused on that one play, one at a time, and obviously good footwork. He can pass the ball. He's got the big arm. But what I noticed specifically is the way that no matter what happened the previous play, whether he threw a pick, there is this interception. It is like we're talking about Patrick Mahomes. It is one of the dumbest throws in the history of college football. Okay, it was just such a crazy throw. It's like a play where you just don't throw that one. And then in that same game, and this was very early. I think he was a freshman or sophomore. He goes back into the huddle the next drive, and hikes the ball, goes back there, and just drills a 40-yard pass, as if he did not just commit one of the biggest mistakes that you've ever seen a quarterback make at that level. So it's just about his mental part, and also with his laser focus in terms of like he can do this, but then he does this horrible pass. He throws a pick. He fumbles the ball. He makes a wrong play. He goes back out there. The next play, he's acting as if it never happened, and he can progress forward. And this is why they came back in all those playoff games, because there were games where he didn't play well in the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, if he did not have that aspect of the game, they would not have won the Super Bowl. The fact that he could, 2 picks in that game, they're down in the fourth quarter, and then he goes back into that huddle every time and goes through the motions and delivers. So that would be one thing I would say about Patrick Mahomes that I think people don't really look at, because that's not really a scouting report. They look at what he does with this, and this, but they don't really look at the way they handle themselves after a bad moment. And I think that was early. You could see that part of his game really impressive, because he grew up in Texas. He wanted to go to University of Texas. No one could recruit him except for Texas Tech, and he took every single opportunity. And just the short-term memory loss and the way he can deliver after just bad stuff was the one thing I saw in particular.
Absolutely. His confidence and belief in himself is amazing. But Ryan, he's your quarterback, so you go ahead. You tell us what you think about him, man. Tell us what you think about that, brother.
Man, I'll tell you what, when they drafted him, and this may sound crazy, I was happy we drafted a quarterback in the first round, but as soon as I must admit, I don't watch much Big 12 football. So, I mean, I've seen him a couple times.
Me neither.
as soon as I saw Texas Tech, I'm like, oh no, a Big 12 quarterback.
Tell them what happened.
And
Tell them what
I'll admit
happened.
that I'm not afraid to admit it because like if you look at all of them, you got like Bradford, you got Baker Mayfield, you got Brandon Weeden. Remember that disaster?
Ooh.
Blaine Gabbert. He didn't play down in the SEC for Mizzou. You got Chase Daniel, career backup. I mean, just like average. And then I like asked Elliot, like he showed me these videos, and I'm like, all right, I'm starting to feel more confident.
Tell them what I said though.
And before I go with that, any Chiefs fan that said they saw this coming is an absolute liar. Any they saw this coming is an absolute liar. Not even you, Elliot. Even what you saw could have seen this domination.
Oh no, I didn't see this, but I said all pro. I didn't and future MVP, but I didn't say all pro and future MVP by year 2.
All right. So what made you think that he was going to be an all pro at least one time?
All right. So I'm going to talk about a game in particular, but I want to mention one more thing that I think you guys will find interesting. Early, and this is again, I saw Patrick play from basically his first game onwards, just because I don't know, I just liked his swagger. I liked the way he carried himself. I'm like, this is a guy I want to watch. But early in his career, he had like dislocated his shoulder or something. It was some like injury, and the coach basically had to fight him to sit down. He was trying to get back out there the next play, and they basically forced him. And I liked his mental toughness because he just messed up his shoulder, his leg, whatever it was, and he was trying to run out there with his helmet on, and he just wanted to go at it. And even if you look at losses, and I saw games where they got absolutely crushed, and just the little things you'd see in a quarterback, like mostly when it's a 35-3 game, you're changing the channel, but just seeing Patrick in those situations, he used those games as platforms to sort of improve it, because he's like, okay, we don't necessarily need to run this play in this moment. We're not winning this game. But so this is where I first saw it. So, but he set up himself, and he basically in his head was animating games in the future. So what's going to happen when there's 2 minutes left and we're losing? How am I going to be able to handle that? We're losing a bunch of games, and we're not in a situation where we have the opportunity to show that. So he used these games. In the games where he was down a bunch, but there are like 2-3 minutes left, he treated those games as like a game-winning drive. So he learned that ability, and the way I just saw something in him. But the game that really sold it for him. So when I posted on Facebook that the famous post that I've shared a billion times, just so people can keep remembering what I said, it was Johnny Manziel and Patrick Mahomes, and it was Texas Tech versus Oklahoma A&M, right? Yeah. So and high power offense. Johnny won the Heisman that year. He had that crazy game where he like muffled the ball against Alabama, throws in the end zone, and they went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So I already established he doesn't get rattled in bad situations. He's tough. He's smart, and then you see him throw the ball, and it's just like this is some Madden stuff. But then you see him when he's up with a better quarterback, all his numbers, all his performance went up. But Johnny wasn't the NFL quarterback. He never was going to be. But he lit up College Station for 2 years, and he was one of the most exciting college quarterbacks at least in that time period, to do that. And they went back and forth, and I think A&M won the game, but everything was happening where Johnny would put this great drive, put it together, boom, we're good. And then Patrick Mahomes would like do the same amount in like 4 plays. So it was taking Johnny Manziel about 5 to 7 plays to, and don't get me wrong, he was tremendous in the game too. But then I see Patrick, who at the time I still think Johnny was a better college quarterback at the time, and he's making these huge gains. He's not running as a weapon. He was running out of necessity. A little dancing with his feet, little Russell Wilson in those games. evading the rush, and then just being able to somehow in his eyes locate where he needs to go. Boom, and it was just like the quick movement of how fast he could escalate it. And the reason I think that he was able to do that is because in the games where they were getting blown out, he was practicing those games as if they were game-winning drives. And in that game, it was back and forth.
I want to stop really quick.
Go ahead.
That was against Baker Mayfield at OU. He got the team right the first time.
Sorry. Okay. But I believe he did play Johnny at some point too.
I didn't know because he was there. I know why you're thinking though, because Baker was at A&M, but no, he didn't play Johnny because Johnny was out of college before that. But I know what game you're talking about. It was against Baker at Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, okay. So there's that game, obviously. That's the one where I saw it because they were going tit for tat back and forth, and it's just Patrick was just so much more impressive. And then there was this play where it looked, and I don't remember if this is the exact same game. He like put his foot on the logo in the midfield and just shredded this ball. It dropped in the end zone. It didn't drop 10 yards, 20 yards, and the receiver runs the rest. He put that ball exactly where it needed to be, and his receiver just caught in the end zone. And when I saw that, I'm like, if there's anything that's an all-pro talent who does all the things I've already said, can throw it like that in a game and it's not like he was playing, Minnesota or something. It was a good team who were they weren't going for the college football playoff, but they had a very good record. And then when I saw that game,
that's the year Baker won the was that the year Baker won the Heisman?
Yes.
So I only played two
it was
years
either
there, so yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. And then there was that game, and then I saw him go against USC, which was I knew what Mahomes was, but against USC, it was another teams don't typically play that well against USC, and it was just, and then so by his sophomore year, I'm like, okay, this guy he's the real deal. And then his junior year, he got better, and then people questioned all these things about him going into the draft. When he was drafted, they ripped him, and I understand why, because he wasn't being watched by everyone, but there was just something about him in college that you see. And, I've been pretty accurate on some other college quarterbacks, but I never went so far on the limb where I said he's going to win an MVP. This guy's an all-pro. And I think the situation he ended up in Kansas City helps him, but I just think he was – I don't remember who else was in that draft, but it was Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. Just based on what you see, the eye test, he was significantly above them, and I thought he should have been the number one pick. So when he slid down and then Kansas City went up to get him, and given the situation, I knew it was going to be fireworks. I said that he should have won the Super Bowl. And I think I told Ryan, 3 to 5 years he won a Super Bowl. I didn't think it happened this soon, and he's been way better than I ever expected. But those are some of the little things that I saw from Patrick Mahomes, because to me it was just once you sort of saw him get into the rhythm, and a lot of during his college career, he was just super talented. He didn't exactly know what he was doing, and just in a strategic way, football wise. Once he mastered that, I'm like, uh-oh, the NFL's in trouble.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, he that year, Elliot, that Mahomes got drafted the year after Goff. Because remember,
my bad. Who was in that draft then? It was Wentz.
That's your Miles.
Oh yeah,
Trubisky.
Watson. Sorry, Watson.
Overall.
Watson and Trubisky. But even then, I would take Watson. I'm sorry, I would take Mahomes over Watson, and I thought it was. And I loved
Trubisky.
I take myself with Trubisky, to be honest.
No, because that's the other thing. Because that's what I was going to say. That's one of the ones. That's why I kind of rolled my eyes when we picked Mahomes, because we could have had Deshaun Watson right there. I thought at that moment, I'm like, what are you doing? And I mean, I was right. Deshaun Watson is incredibly special and is a future NFL MVP, but I'd rather have who we have now.
Right. The thing with Deshaun Watson, and let me clear this up for all the Bears fans and people who are trying to take the mickey out of him. But first of all, Deshaun Watson, the best resume. I thought he was going number one. I really thought he did. everything he did, he threw for like 900 yards against Alabama. He won one championship, lost one. So he's on that big stage as much, but just the intangibles and the little things that Patrick Mahomes did was the reason I thought he should have been that first quarterback off the board. So just to the Bears fans or people who make it to the league, the thing that happened in Chicago is not related to Patrick Mahomes. We can say now, oh, they should have taken Patrick Mahomes. Bears fans can say, oh, we should have taken Patrick Mahomes. That's not accurate because they weren't looking at Patrick Mahomes in that way at that time. The wrongness of the Bears picking Trubisky was they left Deshaun Watson on the board and they traded a whole bunch of places all the way up to get him. So it was Deshaun Watson is who they messed up when they passed him, because no one was thinking that Mahomes was going to be drafted as high, in that area. So when Bears fans say this or that, and people who don't like the Bears say this or that, the pick that was wrong was Deshaun Watson not being taken by the Bears, not Patrick Mahomes, because me and the Kansas City general manager and maybe a few other people saw Patrick Mahomes before we saw the rest of us did. So it was just, it wasn't, that wasn't the wrongness. It was Deshaun Watson going to Chicago was what should have happened. Obviously, in my opinion, I thought Patrick Mahomes was better than both, but I knew that he wasn't going to get taken that high because of the conference he played in. And there were certain things about Patrick Mahomes that scouts were turned off by. They said something about toughness, and I thought toughness was one of his greatest strengths. And I know he got injured occasionally, and they said that he had a fragile body. But I like the fact that when he got injured, immediately he wanted to go back out in the field and go for the next series. And so I don't know. It's a little hard to explain exactly what I saw, but because it's just one of the things when you see it. But there's also other things that led up to that moment for all that.
All right. So.
Yep.
My next question is for you guys. Who should really try to take the hardest for Trevor Lawrence?
That's a great one. So,
okay, go ahead. Do you know? Because I have an idea. If you don't,
who should tank? Browns. I gotta be arrow. I don't believe in Baker Mayfield at all. I don't. I'm done with him. I'm sorry, guys. I don't believe in him. The Bears? Why not the Bears? I mean, I don't believe in these guys anymore, man. I just don't.
Now, that being said, do you guys really think that Trevor Lawrence is like an actual generational talent?
Yes, 1,000 times yes. He's the best quarterback he's the best. I mean, okay. If we're just talking about someone coming into the league and you just know right away, no bust factor, most likely superstar. He's the best quarterback to come out of college football since Andrew Luck. And Andrew Luck had an early career. He didn't have the career he wanted to. He was an all-pro when he was healthy, and the GM and they didn't surround him. He was on the ground for 3 years because he was under siege. But hold on.
You said best college quarterback?
No. Not best college quarterback.
Prospect?
The best prospect. Okay, the best prospect to come into the league since Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was not the best college quarterback. He was the best prospect.
He was the best prospect.
In my lifetime.
He was a much better prospect than even Mahomes. I'll keep it real.
Yeah, same.
He's not a better player, but
No, I got you.
Makes sense.
So for me, it was just like Trevor Lawrence is but he's the best prospect since Andrew Luck. And he comes in the league and I think, I'll be honest, I'm so high on him. The rookie record for touchdown passes is what?
27?
27? It's 27, I think. I think
Manning did it, and then
Baker has it. It's 27.
Yeah. Baker has it now, but Manning.
It was Baker, Russell Wilson, and Manning both at 26. But I think there's a good. If he has weapons on the team that drafts him, if he goes to the Bears, he'll probably throw for 30 his first year. That's how confident I am in Russell in Trevor Lawrence. I could be dead wrong about this, but I love everything.
I should be Ryan Leaf.
Well,
that's your favorite player. That's Ryan's favorite boss.
If he is my favorite boss, I love him. He shares the same name as me. It's great.
You know what, though? You know what? Ryan Leaf is actually in the Hall of Fame, the preseason Hall of Fame.
Preseason Hall of Fame.
Yep.
But no, I
All
think
right.
I think there's two quarterbacks that cannot miss in this draft. Justin Fields, I think 1 year, whatever, but I still think he's not Trevor Lawrence. Let's get that out of the way. But he is a franchise changer. So the two teams that the Bears should not try. They should actively try to lose. I'm not talking about just like. I'm talking about like.
They should
I don't
make
know.
it obvious.
They should bench Khalil Mack for the whole season. Just take out the best parts of their defense and just because the thing is that the Bears there's so many good things about that team, except their offense and except their quarterback. They get that guy in Chicago with Allen Robertson and Riley and a bunch of other good pieces that they have. It could be fireworks, and then the division heats up. But I'm not saying that Khalil Mack should refuse to play, but I'm kind of thinking the Tim Duncan thing where they rested David Robinson after he was injured for the rest of the season, so they get the number 1 pick. So same thing. Do I think they'll get the number 1 pick? No, because I think their defense is going to win them. So enough games where they will be out of contention for the number 1 pick. So there's that, and then Jacksonville needs a savior. So I think Jacksonville's the most likely team to be able to do that because I just think they're. A week ago, I said they got one good player, their running back, and now he's not even there anymore. So this could be like a 1-15 season for Jacksonville. Cincinnati's not going to draft a quarterback, so they're out. The Jets won't draft a quarterback, they're out. Cleveland, even though we don't like Baker Mayfield, I don't think they'll draft a quarterback. So it's really I think it's Jacksonville. But if the Bears can be bad enough to get in there, I think they got to do it just because they'll benefit the most from getting a number 1 pick. And then there's
if Philip Rivers gets hurt?
Oh, that's a good one.
Indy?
Colts.
In Indy?
Yeah, Colts will be another.
Even if Philip Rivers doesn't get hurt, they should still tank because I don't believe in Philip Rivers either.
Yeah. Philip Rivers is my favorite player in NFL history. I don't believe him anymore either. So, so the Colts is another one.
They should have just kept Peyton Manning in 2012 if they want to come back to this old Philip Rivers. That makes no sense to me.
So I mean, the Colts are in there. I think I had this great theory until the Patriots signed Cam Newton.
They should have.
So I think they're out because I said in the summer. This is before they got Cam Newton. I think the Pats were going to tank and trade 9 draft picks for the number 1 and take Lawrence, but because they signed Cam, that's not going to happen. But I think the Bears and the Jacksonville are the 2 most likely teams. Well, I think the Jacksonville will get him. I think the Bears and the Colts make the most sense just in terms of, you know what I'm saying.
Yep, the Patriots also have 8 players that are opting out because of COVID. But
yeah,
all right, it sounds pretty good. Fair enough.
You
got a next topic?
You have your
go ahead.
questions before we end it up?
Do I have what?
Wait, one more.
Do you have fair or foul questions for this week before we end?
Hold on. Do you want to have okay? I'm gonna put a topic in here. You talk about it, and I'll think of fair or foul questions while I'm waiting.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Gabe, you said Kansas City's winning the Super Bowl. Explain.
I've already said it. I've said they're winning the Super Bowl. I'll explain it. So it kind of goes back to what I've been saying. Who was the last team to win the Super Bowl back-to-back? I believe it was the Patriots. Anybody want to correct me on that if I'm wrong?
It was New England.
Yep.
Okay, so New England about 18 years ago. Well, this Kansas City team, they have all the pieces they need to be great. Mahomes can be great without an elite receiver, like for a small stretch if somebody gets hurt. I don't think anybody's beating them in football. They were down 24-0 to Houston. They were down double digits to San Francisco. That's not happening again. This is going to sound crazy, okay? I think, and I hate this. I'm even saying this. Ryan's over there with the Super Bowl gear on. I think they actually have a better shot to win the Super Bowl this year than they did last year.
Wow.
And yeah, I hate to say it because their confidence is growing. Like Elliott said it. Like he has laser-like focus. He has a short memory. your coach is a Hall of Famer. Your coach was a Hall of Famer before he got Michael Jordan at quarterback. So with all of that being said, I think the offense is still one of the most elite offenses in history. I keep when I go to bed at night, I keep thinking about that 3rd and 15 in the Super Bowl. You guys were down. Mahomes steps back, seven-step drop back, 45 yards to Tyreek Hill. I don't think that there's anybody. I don't see any NFC defense that's scary. He basically shook Tom Brady out the AFC. Thank you, Pat Mahomes. There's nobody in the AFC stopping him. I mean, if Lamar Jackson can take that next step, maybe. But even then, I just don't see it. I think Mahomes going to go back to back. I think that people are going to try to, you know, put a bunch of feathers in there. Oh, what about this team? What about that team? But it's so obvious that they're going to win. It was obvious that you guys were going to win this year, honestly, because you guys would have won last year had it not been for a pre-snap penalty. Brady threw that interception in the AFC Championship. So I got the Chiefs winning it all. I don't know who's going to win the MVP. I might go with Derrick Henry just because, but I think it's over.
Ooh, that's a good pick.
I think it's over. I think the Chiefs win it all. I don't think anybody beats them in football. I think it's a little bit more closer this year, even though it was close last year. I think we're due for a Kansas City Classic, but yeah, Chiefs win. I'm sorry, and I hate it. They're in my division.
Yeah, I think we're gonna win it too. I think our record's gonna be a little worse this year because I think 11-5. Because, like I said, no preseason or anything like that. But I agree with you. Once we get in the playoffs, unless Tennessee can go on the miracle run or Lamar Jackson can step up,
Tennessee has no shot. Only person that can
nobody
stop
has
you in
a
the
shot.
AFC, the only person who even has a chance in the AFC, in my opinion, is Lamar Jackson, and that's if he turns into MVP, and he has to go crazy. But even then,
Well, that's why I say about Tennessee. Because if Derrick Henry goes crazy too, then they got a shot. But you're still saying no.
sorry, they had a shot last year in the AFC Championship. You guys were down double digits to them. You came back. It's over. It's over, guys. Nobody's beating them. It hurts. So what do you think, Guru? Who do you think? Me and Ryan both sound like Chief fans, and I'm ashamed to say that. So, Guru, who do you got? Give me one team. Who's going to win the chip?
I want to pick them, but they haven't won a playoff game yet with him. I think the Ravens will, but I have an issue with picking them because Lamar Jackson hasn't won a playoff game yet. So the Ravens should win it because I mean the Chiefs probably are loaded. They're loaded everywhere, but the Ravens are loaded everywhere too. They have a great coach. There's so many good pieces to this team. You know what? I'm gonna say Ravens. Lamar Jackson. Lamar, you better not screw me on this one because I am giving you the benefit of the doubt that you will win playoff games. If you don't, I'm just gonna go on the limb. Just because
if he does, look at it this way: if he doesn't win playoff games in say 2 or 3 years, then Joe Flacco's still a better quarterback than him.
Wow, that's so weird.
But it's true.
It's
Joe
true.
Flacco won a Super Bowl MVP.
And he did it versus Andrew Luck, and then he beat Manning in Denver. He beat Brady in New England, and then he beat Kaepernick in the Super Bowl. So you're 100% correct, Ryan.
I'll say this though. I think so. I am gonna pick the Ravens, but the thing I am concerned with is obviously the playoff thing, and
I think that's happened before. I think
right. But here's a different thing, right? So
go ahead.
I'm not gonna say anyone's gonna figure out Lamar Jackson, like totally, but if they can figure out how to, I don't know, wound the lion, I'll say. If they can make him less explosive, if they can make him pass more than before, if they can do all these different things and they can push him back a little bit, then it's going to be difficult. But again, I feel like Lamar Jackson worked so hard last offseason. He looked like a child his rookie year and looked like he's ready to be a UFC fighter this year too. So if he can improve in just some aspects of the game, and I love his running ability. This is the thing. He needs to not take hits. That's the thing it's going to come down to. I don't want him taking hits. And then on top of that, just generally speaking, I think that's the thing that concerns me. But again, I think they should win it. But It will be either the Chiefs or the Ravens. So okay, I got one more thing before I do fair or foul question. Let's across the table give our season awards. Just since we're previewing the year, whoever wants to go first.
You go ahead, Guru. Season
All right,
awards.
I got Deshaun Watson for MVP. I got oh geez. Geez, this is difficult. I'm gonna stick with. I'm gonna go with J.J. Watt for Defensive Player of the Year if he's healthy.
Why not?
Rookie of the Year. Good God. I'm gonna go with. Oh my God.
You want me to go?
Yeah, I need some time to think. Go ahead.
So for my MVP, my real MVP pick, I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson as well. I do think he's going to take, especially if he leaves to the playoffs after losing Hopkins. There's no reason not to give it to him. My defensive player of the year is actually going to be Tyrann Mathieu. He was all pro. I think he was all pro last year. Was an absolute shutdown safety. He's been a monster for us ever since we picked him up. I think he takes that next step and really becomes leader of the defense. People can call me biased, whatever. I don't care. Rookie of the year, I got Justin Herbert. I don't think Joe Burrow has the talent around him. I mean, let's be honest. The Bengals are only going to win 2 games again this year. So I got.
I disagree.
Chargers.
I don't. I think you're being
That was
generous.
my guy.
Yep. I think Herbert is at least going to give him 7 or 8 wins and be decent. So I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. And then Coach of the Year. I hate doing this, but if he gets them back to the playoffs, I'm going to have to go with Belichick after he lost his golden boy and losing all those players with COVID-19. And you know he will. Even if it's just a wild card in the first round loss, I'm going to have to go with him. What about you, Gabe?
All right, so start off with Coach of the Year. I think Coach of the Year is going to be Matt LaFleur. I think the Packers are going to be excellent. I think they might even go to the Super Bowl. I don't know. I know I sound like Tony. I'm going to go with Rookie of the Year, Joe Burrow. I think that Cincy is going to be hot. I think they're going to look really good. I think that they're going to get to 9 wins, especially in that tough division. You got the Browns; they're up and coming. You have Steelers, Big Ben's back, and obviously the Ravens. I think that Joe Burrow is going to split with all 3 of those teams. I think he's going to beat the Ravens, the Browns, and the Steelers. He's probably going to lose. He's going to lose to all of them too, but he's going to split with all of those teams. I think he's going to be great. I think because he reminds me of Andrew Luck. And if you remember Andrew Luck's first season, he went 10-6. So I think Joe Burrow. I think the Cincinnati. They even remind me of that Indianapolis team. They've actually been in the playoffs recently. It ain't like they've been terrible like the Browns for 20 years. They've been in the playoffs recently. I think like the past three or 4 years. So I got Joe Burrow at Rookie of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going to go with Von Miller, just because I have to be biased some way. I have to give my team hope. So, yeah, why not? Screw it. Von Miller, Defensive Player of the Year. Go ahead. Get 15 sacks. I hope that my boy Drew Lock is elite and is really good, and he keeps my defense rested. So, yeah, Von Miller for Defensive Player of the Year. MVP. Who should I go for? I'm going to go with Derrick Henry for MVP. I think he's going to have a 2,000-yard season. I think what we've seen last year. Yeah, I do. I think, what did he have, 1,800 yards last year?
Yeah, he was close. He was close.
Yeah, and I think he's going to get to 2,000. And I think because they signed their quarterback to $100 million, what's the guy's name? I can't think of his name.
Tannehill.
Tannehill. He's going to be comfortable in that system. They have a better idea of what they need to do to win. They're going to give that ball to Derrick Henry a lot, and he won't be under the radar this year. So he's going to look great. So, yeah, those are my awards right there.
All right. I'm going to just forget what I said. I figured out what I'm going with here. All right. So MVP, I'm still Deshaun Watson. I'm going defensive player. I'm going to go Joey Bosa. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor from the Colts. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going with a sleeper here. I'm going with Raekwon Davis from the defensive tackle from the Dolphins. Coach of the Year, I'm going to go with McDermott from Buffalo. And am I missing anything? Or is that it?
That's it.
All right.
That's it. All right, pretty good.
Time to wrap this up.
All right, let's do some fair or foul questions, all right? I'm kind of thinking these on the fly. The New England Patriots will miss the playoffs.
Fair.
Foul.
Fair. I'm going
Bill
fair.
ain't going
Go
for it.
ahead.
Bill is not going for it, guys. You see, last year they got busted for cheating. They were cheating against the Browns and the Bengals. The Bengals was the worst team. Bill will do anything for success, especially because Tom Brady is gone. I think Cam Newton. I think he'll be looking like 2015 MVP Cam Newton. Not quite, but I think he'll be great under Bill. And I think they're going to win 10 games. I think they're going to win the division. I know things change, but things stay the same. That's why I got the Patriots winning the AFC East, and I got them winning the playoffs. Winning a playoff game. So, yeah, foul.
All right, Ryan, you're a foul, right?
Listen,
Or you're fair. I mean.
No, I meant foul. They'll make the playoffs because there's 3 wild cards. It's 9-7. But winning the division, no, the Bills are going 11-5. And the Bills are going to beat the Patriots twice.
Yeah, I don't have to make the playoffs. I have the Pats going 8-8. Cam is going to have a breakthrough season and probably will win comeback player of the year and all that stuff. I just don't think this team is very good. So that's one. Let me think of another one. You kind of already answered it.
I've got one if you don't.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, fair or foul? The Saints is going to blow out the Buccaneers week 1.
Fair. I'm going to go not a total blowout because I think Brady will put up at least 2 touchdowns.
42-21.
38-17.
Wow. I'll go closer to 28-17. New Orleans.
Yeah.
Watch Brady throw 3 picks too.
I hope so. I'm praying on it, please.
All right, let me think of one.
I got one more, and then we'll do your last one.
Okay.
The Browns will be no better than 4-12 this year.
Who?
The Browns.
Oh, that's foul. Come on, you're being foul. I don't believe in Baker.
They're gonna win like 6 games.
I will say this: if you guys don't remember, last year the Browns kind of exposed the Ravens. They beat the Ravens, and they kind of split. But I think that they're going to beat the Ravens again this year. So I even though I don't believe in Baker, I think they'll go 8-8. I think they'll go 8-8. That's who they are.
I got them at 7-9. Ryan, what about you?
I got them at 5-11. So foul.
All right, I got 2 more real quick. So hold on. What would I? Okay, this one's for you, Gabe. The Broncos will win 11 games.
Ooh, that's foul. That's a lot of pressure on us. A lot of pressure. I think the max, if God is good and John Elway sprinkles some of that goat juice on us, we might get to 10 games, 10 wins. Got to be honest, because we're not beating Kansas City. I don't think we're going to beat Kansas City. Actually, fuck that. We're going to beat Kansas City 1 game this year. I said it, Ryan. We're coming for you, and we're going to do it in Kansas City. I guarantee it. Drew Lock is going to show you. He's going to show. He's not winning the division this year, but he's going to show Pat. He's going to have to sweat.
I'm gonna go. I got to do one bias pick this year. I'm gonna go foul 0-16.
Wow. We're gonna have to fight.
No seriousness. No, you guys will be improved. 9-7. 9-7.
I got them winning 11 games. I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds crazy. I really think that there's gonna. I don't know. I just got a funny feeling about Denver this year. I think. We'll see what Drew Lock can really do in a full season, but I think he's got something there. And they drafted really well. And Von Miller and Chubb will be healthy. I think something will happen there. They're not gonna blow up in the playoffs or anything like that. But but they're just gonna get there. That's just my point of view. And then here's one. So just be very careful how I word this. Kyler Murray will be long term. So in the long term, will be better. Have a better career than Lamar Jackson. So just long term, not in the next 2 or 3 years. Long term.
I'm gonna go foul.
Okay,
I gotta see.
Go on.
I gotta. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think it's a possibility because his passing looks a little bit more matured than Lamar Jackson's already. But Lamar Jackson is a freak of an animal, freak of a nature. Michael Vick 2.0, Michael Vick on steroids. So I'm gonna go foul.
All right, fair enough.
I'm going to go foul because he plays for the Cardinals, and that organization
Yeah, so inconsistent.
destroys
So-
everything it touches.
They're inconsistent. One year
Yeah,
they're
sure.
great, the next year they got 4 wins. You just don't know.
Yep. So, I mean, they could honestly go, even with Kyler Murray, they could only win 5 this year. I mean, it's
Yeah,
very,
the other divisions are too. The other teams in their division are too good.
5
yeah.
wins? Wow, now I think you're being disrespectful. I think they're going to get 8 wins at least. Eight at least.
All right, so,
That'd be nice.
so before we go then,
Wait, let me answer. Hold on.
finish in last place this year.
Hold on. Let me answer real quick. I've been on this the whole time. I'm gonna say fair. I'm gonna say it's fair because I think if Lamar continues to play the way he does, he's gonna get hit one time. Kyler runs around but doesn't get hit, so that's what I'm saying. And I could be wrong about that, but that's all I'm saying right now. I love Kyler, but he doesn't get hit like Lamar does. Lamar takes hits. Kyler runs out of bounds and doesn't take the big hit. So all right, Ryan, go ahead. Whatever you're gonna say.
All right, we got one more and then we're done. Fair or foul. The Rams finish in last place this year, and Jared Goff gets exposed.
Foul.
Fair.
Fair.
Fair. I don't believe in the Rams at all. Listen, they had that 1 year just like Philly did, just like the 49ers did this year, where they went to the Super Bowl and they got exposed. Oh, because Todd Gurley was hurt. I don't care. He's one player. There's no reason for your entire offense to stall when you have supposed to have an MVP type quarterback. 100% fair. They finished in last place. I got the 49ers, Seahawks, and the Cardinals finishing ahead of the Rams. Great question.
Yeah, I agree.
Ryan.
I think it's fair. I don't think Goff's all that special whatsoever.
I don't believe in him.
I don't believe him at all. I think that division's so loaded, and I think they're a good team. They'll still win about 6 games, but I mean, no, they're finishing in last.
Yeah, I think they're finishing second to last. I think they'll probably still finish above Arizona. I think it's 8. I don't know. That's a coin flip though. 8-8 to 9. 8-8 to 7-9 between those two, Arizona or LA. I don't know, but I think that it's going to take a little bit more time with the coach they have in Arizona and new offense and the new toys that Kyler has. It's going to take a year for it to all click together. So that's what I'd say.
Okay. Can I say one more thing before we
go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so real quick, I do want to commend you two gentlemen. You guys are great friends of mine. I want to thank you guys for standing on the right side of history. Not today. It's easy today, but 4 years ago, 5 years ago when Kaepernick first did his thing, you guys were super supportive. You guys were super understanding. It doesn't take much to be a good human being, but you guys go the extra mile to do it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it. Much love, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Yo, we got to get back here. We got to do this again after week 1. Like, we got to get back. Right after week 1, we got to be back. All right?
All right. We got it.
All right.
Anything else? Anyone?
We got to get the group chat popping again, too, just because I'm not doing fantasy this year because of social injustice, but we got to get the group chat back. All right?
Yeah. Anyone else have anything else to say? Otherwise, I'm going to stop recording.
All I got to say is Black Lives Matter. I really do hope that the NFL keeps true to their word this year and lets the players kneel.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I second that, signed and delivered. Thank you, everybody, for coming on the show. Thank you, Gabe.
Yep.
This was awesome, and we'll be back next week. See you later.
Yeah, much love. Peace.
Peace.
All right, all good.
All right, that was really good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Good. Elliot?
Yeah.
Oh, it's still recording.
Oops.